Okay, let's go through the wheels and tires analogy. Engaging range development services through this process of establishing a shooting range is intended to help create clarity and a path through a specific set of go no go decisions or benchmarks, milestones. This is not a decision that you're making to seek investors today, or approach a bank, or put property under contract, or break ground. Those are all tasks and milestones that are predicated on certain decisions having been made and confirmed in various ways, whether it's within a budget document or a legal operating agreement document or a contract for real estate or zoning approvals or design documents, or the list goes on. There are many, that this is a process of many processes, of several processes, I should say, to be clear. And so in recent years, the marketing pitch of equipment manufacturers has evolved. And what I mean by that is their interest is to sell equipment, and nobody doubts that, faults them for it. It's what we expect. And their focus on the range equipment is from start to finish. They want to talk to you as often and as early as feasibly possible to help you navigate through this process. But their focus is on the equipment. It's not on the entire process. And we'll get into what the process looks like here a little bit and then in another video. But I want to point out just briefly my viewpoint on range equipment manufacturers as making decisions about the tires and the wheels on a vehicle that you want to build. So for purposes of analogy, I set out to build a new vehicle. I haven't decided whether or not it's going to be a sports car or a desert truck, but I bought wheels and tires. And so I invite you into my garage and say, hey, here's the wheels and tires. And it's pretty obvious when you look at them whether or not it's going to be a desert truck or a sports car or something in between. But making that decision for wheels and tires before I've determined the suspension and the motor and the interior and the body and all of the features and capability, because whether it's a sports car or desert truck, those are two totally different mindsets. And it's not a literal, obviously there's distinct differences in the two, in the nature of building a vehicle versus building a range. But the point is, the wheels and tires should come later in the process. They're going to be available to you, whether it's 33-inch wide tires or not. You can buy them. The question is, can you reach the point at which you need the tires and the wheels? Meaning, can you afford the engine? Can you get the engine builder to design it? And can you get the frame and the bodywork and the upholstery and all of the electrical components and the transmission, so on and so forth? All the moving parts that are involved in a shooting range, I would argue, have very little to do with the shooting range equipment. It's really the process to get open is for specific example, 80 to 90% of my time I do not spend on range equipment specific tasks or conversations or contracts or design. It's all about other aspects of this process to establish a range. So this graphic, the vendors being range equipment manufacturers and HVAC suppliers are critically important, and you see by the blue lines they're involved in kind of these key planning and financing, budgeting, design aspects of the process. And they're going to be talking to you, obviously, to the architectural team, to the contractor. But you're not going to go to contract with a shooting range equipment manufacturer and put down a substantial deposit that's going to secure and lock your price in until you have financing approved, meaning you've closed a loan. So that means several things. Investors have been secured and committed, and their dollars have been collected and applied to the loan for it to be closed. The loan has to be closed after underwriting is completed. Well, that only occurs after underwriting is done. Underwriting is only completed when you have a set of construction documents for which you have a bid. You only have a set of bid and construction documents after you've spent your entire architectural and civil engineering design fees. So now, for that, I just described the process in reverse, but effectively, you are 6 figures into spending money on real estate, legal fees, design fees, engaging a general contractor. You've got your pitch deck was completed and your equity raise is done. All of those things have to happen. And then you're to the point where, because these equipment manufacturers, they want a substantial amount of money so that they're holding your spot in the queue for ordering equipment and fabricating that equipment and have an expectation of delivery date. So their budget, or excuse me, their contract is good for 30 days. If we're lucky, 60 to 90 days with a lot of negotiating. But while we're dealing with, if you're at the stage in the process where you're dealing with budget and vision and design and site selection and zoning approvals, then you're wasting time, spending a lot of time with the equipment manufacturers and trying to go to contract and nail down a price. So consider it similar to wheels and tires on a vehicle. It could come later.